Welcome back to our channel. I thought it would be fun this month to just gather a bunch of clips of the things we're doing around the house all month. So these are just some random things of May that we built or did or started. We started a garden. We did a whole family car reset. Max fixed a few random things that needed a little dad maintenance around the house. We did some major pruning to our lilacs, and altogether it was a very busy month for our family. First off, we took a road trip to Minnesota to see some family, and Max's parents had all of these bricks, which we were actually looking to purchase to put all around our front garden. And so they let us take some of these, and then we're going to go back for more. We just couldn't, with the weight, put all of them in our car this trip, so we're collecting them. After our road trips, we actually have a family rhythm that we pretty much stick to, where Max brings absolutely everything in the house, and I stay in the house and I unpack everything, putting all the dirty clothes in the washer right away and putting everything away so that we are like totally unpacked within that first hour, and it just goes super speedy. But this time we felt like the whole van needed a reset, and right before summer, I feel like it's a good time, even though summer definitely gets the car really dirty with going to the creek and sandboxes every day. It gets really messy, but it just needed a really deep clean before we start summer off here. So this time was different. We did all hands on deck. Everyone bring everything in, empty the van out. The kids are usually sick of the car right after a road trip, so they're like super busy playing outside. And Max went to work. He took the seats out and he deep cleaned and vacuumed everything. I don't know if I've ever taken the seats out of our van before. We've had it only a couple of years, so that was needed. I'm also the type of person that usually brings this trash in that I stick in the side of my car door. Typically once a week, or when I get out of the car, I'll just grab some stuff and throw it away so it doesn't pile up. But during a road trip, those side pockets are filled with wet wipes and snack packages and everything. Next was steam cleaning these car seats. I didn't know if I would love the steam cleaner for this, and I realized for the straps it worked really, really awesome. The rest of the car seat needed basically just a vacuum and kind of a rag and some spray, but the steam cleaner worked so great for the straps. This part is surprisingly not that dirty because our seats are always down, because we're always hauling wood or Facebook Marketplace finds or whatever, so we never have our third row up. It is always down to haul stuff. I had a few old toothbrushes out that I was dipping in this jar of water to clean the car seat, and the kids quickly took over for some chalk artwork masterpieces here. This is the McCulloch steam cleaner. I'll have Max link it down below. We put this thing to work. We used it on the car seat liners this day and the van seats, and we use this constantly in our kitchen and bathrooms and floors, and we have loved this thing. This was actually Max's purchase, and I didn't know how to use it for a while, and then I realized I'd really like to steam clean the floors while he was at work, so I quickly learned how to use it, and now we both put that thing to work. I would say like a handheld carpet cleaner probably would be worth the investment for like seat cleaning and stuff, but this is what we had. And for like stuff that's stuck on and grimy, like this part of the car seat, it works really well for, or like homemade gummies were like stuck to parts of the car seat and stuff like that, and that worked really well for that. After those were mostly touched up, I gathered all those and I did a heavy duty bulky wash in the washer with a bunch of OxiClean. I got some OxiClean this year because I felt like some of our stuff needed a really good cleaning, like car seats and stuff like that, and we use like a natural detergent or a homemade laundry detergent most of the time, so having something that probably has a little bit of chemicals in it just once in a while is really good for stuff. So I soaked that in OxiClean and those came out sparkling clean. Also, you can't do a family car reset without cleaning the most dirty thing that was in the car. This actually has a funny story. First of all, this is my favorite way to clean our stroller. We have the City Select, and I don't know how stroller companies expect you to clean their strollers, but with ours, taking the hose to it a couple times a summer and then letting it air dry in the sun, it dries in a few hours, and it is so great. But the funny story behind this is we went to the zoo while we were out of town, and my husband and I kept smelling something that smelled so bad, and we were thinking, well, we're at the zoo, it's got to be here, whatever. And then eventually we were like smelling each other, and we're like, who smells? Something smells so bad. And we realized on our way out of the parking lot after our full day at the zoo with the stroller, our stroller was what smelled. And I am putting the pin on, it's because my kids like to collect worms, and they were gathering worms and setting them in the bottom of the stroller a few weeks ago, and I think they all dried and it smelled really bad. So the stroller is all nice and clean now and ready to probably collect worms again. And now I'm air drying all of our car seat covers. Just remember, this is the month of May. This was not a weekend. This was not just a week. This was our whole month. So as you see us do so many things in this video, this was our month of May. Okay, this is our big garden, our 36 by 36 feet garden that we decided to do 2 days before we started digging this garden. I don't get good sun in our yard, and I've really wanted to garden just a few more things. Tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that just don't do well in our yard. We get 3 or 4 hours of sun in the best place, unless I stick them smack dab in the front of my yard, and I just wouldn't like to do that. So I texted my parents and I was like, hey, maybe could I do tomatoes at your house? And then a few hours later I was like, you know what, never mind. I would probably have to build a fence with all the wildlife. And then one thing led to another, and my mom was like, no, let's do this. I want to learn to garden with you. Like, I will help pay for this fence. Let's do this. Like, this can be kind of a family thing, but not really family thing. Like, I am mostly the one leading the garden, but my mom's really excited about it. The kids have been into it, and it's been really fun. But you'll see, I'll update in some of our future videos, because I didn't get some clips at where we were at the end, but it was a month. We built this fence, and yeah, updates to come. I'll let you know how that is now. Also, things at home never stop. Even if you pick up big projects, mowing never stops. And we were also mowing for 2 different neighbors for a month. So we were mowing 3 lawns a week for a little while, and Max handled it with so much joy and grace, and it was good. Here is us cleaning up just parts of our yard. We had this little PVC pipe a while ago when Junie had a little mud kitchen here, and I just felt like we should clean up little tiny things like this to pick up the yard. But we ended up putting it back in his mud kitchen instead of on the tree, and Max was joking here that Junie is the foreman, telling him where to put it, and he's the boss of this area, so he's letting him pick where he wants to put this new PVC little pipe.
It sounds like it's the first time I've ever used a drill whenever I'm using Phillips bits, because they're just awful. What am I doing?
You're pointing. I forgot to record him actually fixing this, so I made him redo it for the camera, because these things add up. This is the type of stuff that like extends the honey-do list. You know, he had to fix this latch because the kids couldn't get it latched. It was getting a little hard, so he loosened it up. And then, you know, another one of those things, this door, he wanted to add something to it for a while, but it just kind of got pushed off. And then one day he was like, I'm going to add this so the door doesn't do this, or I don't know. I forgot what he did. I don't really notice those things as much as he does, because things that he built will bother him more than it bothers me. Next on our May project agenda, which let me talk about quick. We do have a honey-do list, and I have like piddly things at the top of the list labeled piddly things, you know, fix this after work if this needs, you know, this knob needs to be screwed on Annabelle's play kitchen or stuff like that. But then we do have a list like kind of organized by like exterior or kitchen or whatever of like things we would like to do, but there is never a rush for it. But once we finish up one project, we are just always on to the next thing. So this week we were handling our lilac bushes. I love our lilacs so much. I want them to grow and I want them to flower a ton, and I came across a video on Instagram that basically said if your lilacs are way overgrown and at some point no one pruned them and took care of them and just let them get over the top, the best thing to do for them is to prune them right after they bloom, because they spend the whole summer putting out new growth, and they'll bloom off of the new growth. So if you prune them in the fall, then you're probably cutting off a bunch of new growth, which would be flowers. So if you prune them right after they bloom, then they'll spend all summer putting out their new growth, and then they will bloom on all that new growth next spring. So we are like majorly chopping these in this video that I watched, and it was so much more informative than any other lilac pruning video that I've watched, because I've actually watched a lot because I have been passionate about pruning my lilacs since they were so overgrown when we moved here. She said cut off 1/3 off the top and then the 3 largest branches. And this one, I don't even think you can tell, but it was like a tree. I mean, there were some that were like almost 10 inches in diameter. So this was really sad. I feel like we like chopped this lilac because the saddest thing is the 3 largest branches in this were like the entire thing. But I am hopeful, and I can already tell our lilac since then and the past few weeks have put out more growth than it has in the 7 years we've lived here. So it was very scary to do, but it needed to be done, and I know even this next spring that it blooms, it might still be a little bit empty, but this just helps the lilac put in new, fresh growth and not have those giant stumps to try to keep alive. And also, all of the flowers were always like 12 feet in the air, and there was not many blooms that I could cut off to like make lilac lemonade and cut and put in the house for some floral vases and stuff. So yes, this was really sad, but my lilac needed it. And also the next day I looked out the window and I was like, okay, why does it already look healthier? All right, enough of some outside work. What have I been up to in May while my children are deep into playing during the day? I went through their drawers. It's May, it's about to be hot out. I cleaned out pants, long sleeve, kept a few sweatshirts and some sweatpants in there for summer nights and bonfires and stuff like that. But cleaned out their drawers. It felt so good. I have been feeling like our house is like just cluttery. I don't know why. My brain has just felt kind of clogged because of it. So I went through almost the entire house. This is me. I went through their drawers each separately, and then I went through our medicine cabinet and I just cleaned out a bunch, decluttered hair stuff, first aid stuff, organized the band-aids, you name it. I cleaned this area out. Here I am cleaning up from an experiment that I started 3 months ago. I just thought I needed to get rid of clothes, and it was just really hard to figure out which clothes I actually wore and then which things I've been keeping but just don't really wear. So I took all of my clothes and I put all of them on the floor, and then whenever something would come out clean from the laundry and I'd be folding it and putting it away, I would put it away back on my shelf. So then after these 3 months, I could actually see what clothes were left on the floor that I hadn't worn in so long, and some things like jackets or whatever I just needed to put in a jacket area downstairs. But it really helped me clean out my closet, and I was really glad I did it. As for the kitchen often feels cluttery to me, but I also know that we just don't have that much storage to keep everything in, so it's also an area that I just have to be grateful for what the Lord has given and make do with it cheerfully. So I organized a little bit, mainly just cleaned up a lot in the kitchen, or kind of redid a few areas. I had to go through this drawer, which is just like the kids' cups and plates, and just organize it. I decluttered that a while ago, but just needed to be organized for better use and less mess, when my toddler comes in and wants to take everything out. This was the best thing we did of May, and I think the kids' favorite thing too. We hung this swing finally. We had to hang it really high up, but they have used this multiple times a day, all the time. And like I said earlier, mowing never stops. We were still mowing 3 yards a week here, and Max is just getting to it every day after work, mowing. Our last project of May was investing in this cattle panel that I'm really excited for. This is our first time getting one to grow stuff up on, and I'm very excited to be able to use this for the years to come too. Thanks for watching our super busy month of May. This was one of my favorite videos so far, even though there were a lot of projects, but we are excited to keep sharing more of what our family is doing around the house, building up and stewarding our home.